What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. And up next, we actually have an update from CGC about their cases, at least some modification that they have made to them in an attempt to make them more secure. I actually have a couple of the books here, or a couple of the cases here that have that new modification. So I thought I'd show it, just something so you can see what to look for. Let's check this out. All right, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So since the whole CGC reholder scam, where there's been at least one group of people that had been basically opening the cases. We don't know exactly how they were doing it. We've seen ways that it can be done, and swapping out either lower grade books or qualified books or possibly restored books, whatever, into those cases so that people are getting books that they think are better than they actually are. Since all that happened, one of the big pushes at CGC has been to update their cases. And I think a lot of people think it's a lot easier to update the case than it is, at least from what I've heard talking to others that have been in this hobby longer than me and had been working with, submitting books to CGC longer than me. Generally, between their iterations, it is many years, and it's just because of the level of effort that it takes to update those cases, update the machinery, design the new cases, all that kind of stuff. It's generally years. So people have been pushing CGC to update the case. And there have been lots of little recommendations, like holographic stickers on the edges, things like that. But CGC just had an announcement where they said that they did make a change to the existing case. And I heard about this from Manu. He's 99 Newsstand. So if we just, make sure to go check him out on Instagram, give him a follow, all that kind of stuff. He's the one that originally broke the whole thing with the swapped out books, and it was with a Mark Jeweller's books. It's one of the types of books that he is a kind of like a specialist on, and he had it in one of his stories. And so just make sure to go check him out if you want to get some updates. But then, so I went over and checked out this announcement from CGC. This is the original announcement where they talked about the tampering. It's where you can see all the books that have the strike throughs in them. And so we'll go over that update, because you can see here on March 18th, 2024, Certified Collectibles Group is aware of an incident involving an individual tampering with CGC comic holders. Scroll below for a list of impacted certification numbers. So that's the impacted certification numbers, but they also had an update here where they're actually talking about some questions that people have been asking, and they actually touch on an update to the case. So here we go. We've got the Certified Collectibles Group, which includes Certified Guaranteed Company, or CGC, has shared another update on the comic book holder tampering incident. CGC filed a lawsuit against the individual and his partner who tampered with CGC comic book holders to replace higher graded comic books with lower graded comic books of the same type. So we've talked about that a lot. We've talked about the cases that have been going on, that have been being covered by Paul Lesko on Twitter or X. So that's what they're talking about here. On February 13th, 2024, we obtained a preliminary injunction order prohibiting the defendant from doing anything related to CGC graded comic books, pending the final hearing and ruling in the case. The lawsuit is working its way through the court system, and we will provide an update when there are any significant developments in the case. This is something I actually made a video about recently, where one of the updates basically was that it looks like they might be settling. We don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like. And not a surprise. They probably don't want to get all the other information that could get out there. But I know for myself and a lot of other people, it's a little disappointing, because I feel like it would give us a little more information about maybe any other books that have been impacted. We've heard that this person was also swapping out books and not sending them back to CGC. Maybe give us some insight into that. But we can't control that, right? That might come out more if there was actually a criminal case that was filed, but CGC can't do that. CGC can't file a criminal case. They can file a complaint, and then whoever can, the actual government can go out and file the case against those individuals. But CGC can't really control that. But then we go, in addition to our ongoing efforts to prosecute this fraud, we are continuing to make improvements to the security of our encapsulation process. Already, many customers have noticed a significantly stronger seal on our holders. We are currently testing further improvements to the seal along with high-tech solutions that will enhance the security of our process and holders. Watch for updates in the coming months and the specific improvements that we are making. So that's, to me, that's like the biggest announcement here. And it's something that, and I'm going to go over that with the books that I have over here, where I did notice a difference in the seal. Because now that we know about all the scam stuff, I have a habit of checking closely the edges of every new slab that I'm getting in to see if anything looks unusual. And one did, well, actually two did. And it was the two new books that I got. And I was like, I thought something looked different. And so we'll talk about that. I'll show kind of some close-up pictures so you kind of get an idea what to look for. But let's just finish going through this first. We sincerely apologize for the delays in compensating customers who have made claims. CGC is working as expeditiously as possible to set up a process to address each and every customer who has made a claim. We are committed to making everyone impacted by this incident whole, even if it takes longer than we had hoped. So that actually answers one question that I had where I hadn't heard of anybody actually getting paid out. We were wondering how that process was working. It sounds like nobody has gotten paid out yet. So just that's that update. Then we have received some questions about the list of potentially impacted books that we released on January 3rd and have some new FAQs below. And this, I feel like this kind of helps answer some questions again that we've had. What does it mean when a certification number has been struck? Any certification number that is struck through has been reviewed by the CGC grading team. A strike through does not mean the holder has been tampered with or not tampered with. It only means it's been reviewed. Why do some of these books have new grade dates? I was actually wondering about this. Didn't really give me a great answer here, where I had seen some books that were being reholdered that were getting new grade dates, like updated grade dates. And I did not understand why that was happening. Here they say, if a book has a new grade date in verified CGC certification, it has been reviewed. This grade date simply means that the grading record for that certification number was updated in some way on that date. So I don't know what that means, right? Like, because I've seen that with books that aren't just in this list. I think I talked about that with that Action Comics 1. That Action Comics 1 was graded like whatever, 10 or 12 years ago, the 8.5, the Kansas City pedigree that's coming up on Heritage, and it got an updated grade date. And I generally don't see that. And that's when it got reholdered and was given the new pedigree label. And I generally do not see that. If they get reholdered, they keep the old date. That's been, whenever I've gotten a book reholdered, that's what's been done. And so I don't know if maybe if they add graders notes or something, maybe that also updates it. I have no idea. I would like to see a little more clarification on that, because that's one area that's really gray to me, that I feel like there's not enough insight into when those dates actually update on the CGC certification. Then we've got, why do some of these books not have a grade at all in the verified CGC certification? If a book's grade is vacated, the book is currently at CGC. Okay, there's that. And what happens to books after CGC completes its review? If CGC determines that a book has been tampered with, the book will be held at CGC pending the outcome of the insurance, claim, and legal process. If CGC determines that the book has not been tampered with, the old certification number will be deleted. The book will be assigned a new certification number, encapsulated, and returned to its submitter. Now, I know I've heard of one where it didn't follow that exact process. So, I mean, I would like them to follow that exact process exactly, but I have heard at least one incident where that was not the case. And then will CGC share the results of its reviews? It says they will not be providing a list of the final determinations of these books at this time. They'll reassess once it's complete. And how often is this being updated? It says it's being updated about weekly. All right. So those are all the updates. These are all the new things that we get out of CGC for this March 18th update. Now, let's check out these books. So first things first, I've got this Superman #2 because I've been holding off on submitting books. And so I generally don't have a lot of examples, but this was one that I had submitted to have the conservation done in August of last year. So I've had it for a long time, or I had submitted a long time ago, but it just got the conservation finished and then recased. And I noticed on the edge where, and I don't know how, I'm going to put a picture up on the screen too that I took. So in case this doesn't come out in the resolution enough, there's this, there's always been this little, mark here. This is where that sonic seal happens, but it's different now. And let's see if you can see, it's really smooth. It's almost like it was ground down. And so I wonder if they've changed their sonic sealing, because that's where what they said here is that many of our customers notice a significantly stronger seal on our holders. And so this is the one place, and I took this book and compared it to other ones that I have that were graded last year, just to kind of see if I could notice any differences. And this is the only place I noticed a difference. So this must be where they made that change. I didn't see anything at the corners. And so that is one thing we know from those videos using the heat gun and all that, that the weak point in this really is the corners. It's where this kind of like connection is made, and that when you heat it up, it expands, and then they can, open the bottom of the case. But so obviously I'm not going to crack open my Superman #2 to test this out. I'm not going to, use a heat gun on or anything like that. I don't want to, I'm not going to deal with that. But the thing I notice is that if you get a book that has this seal here that's been ground down and smooth like this, then it means that that's one of these newer slabbed books, and this must use that, whatever that new process is that's making their seal stronger. And so you can see that with this one right here. The other book, and this is the one that I first noticed it on, and it honestly, like, it threw me off. Like, I was a little worried at first, and that's why it's part of why I wanted to make this, because if you didn't know CGC had made a change and you saw this, you might think someone tampered with the case. That was originally my thought, but I was like, I know this wasn't tampered with, because I know the person that I bought it from. I know he sent it to me directly after he got it. Like, he opened it at the post office, closed it right just to check the case, closed it right back up, and shipped it to me. And that was this Detective Comics number 73. And so, but I noticed that immediately. It's got this same thing here, this really smooth ground down edge where this connection is. And so I was like, and so that's why I think it is good to point this out. And I wish CGC would have actually released something more specific, kind of maybe pointing to this, because that was the one thing, like, on this whole case, when I compared everything else, that looks different. And so just be aware. And like I said, I'll throw a picture of this one over here or there, something too, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because then if you look at a book that I had graded last year, and I've got two of them over here, they look exactly the same. I have this Star Trek #3. And so if you look at it here, you see how it's kind of like bubbled up. And this is how generally they've looked for the last year or so. Sometimes they would look really rough, like it almost feels like, I don't know, had like a kind of like a rough, like broken texture to it. But these ones, it's this like really smooth, like bubbled texture. And so let's see if I can put two of them next to each other so you can kind of see the difference. And so let's see if I can get them to, camera's tough here to focus on. It doesn't want to focus on both of them at once. You can see how it's very clearly a different kind of connection. Like, this one is the old slab. You can see that kind of like bubbled, rounded connection point. And this one is the smooth kind of like rectangle. Yeah, there we go. Like the smooth ground down rectangle. And let's see if I can get it to, yeah, there we go. So it's not there. Now it's real clear. So you can see how different that is. And so that's the sign that you have one of the slabs that has gone through this new process. It is, yeah, that would feel like that was a really good shot there. So yeah, when you look at that, that is the difference. It is completely different on that. And is that it really threw me off where I was like, there's no way that he cracked this book out and did something, because I had seen the original pictures of this, Tech 73 too. So I knew it was the original book, and so, but yeah, that is the difference there. So hopefully this helps. If you, if you've gotten any new books from CGC, you can see that. Now, I did reach out to CGC. I sent an email to kind of ask if they could give any more clarification on if that's specifically what was done, or if they could give any more details. I don't know if they will. I will definitely let people know if I hear anything back about that. But for now, all I can see is that those welds are different now, and that is likely what they're referring to. And maybe that is somehow helping secure these cases more. But to me, that's not enough yet for me to be sending in books, because I really don't know what the difference is there. I don't know if it's any less susceptible to being broken into. And so I hopefully they respond to me and I get a little more information. But hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Got more videos over here. If you'd like to see some of my other videos, subscription button is right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.